just a few days, spring will be upon us, symbolizing newness, a beginning. Today, for each driver behind the wheels of their Williams Toyotas FW31s, it is also the beginning, the first step of 12 on a path to a championship. And for this series, newness as well, switching from last season's private hosted sessions to this season's official iRacing races. From the Circuit of the Americas, it is the opening round of the Batteries Not Included 2019 Spring Championship. And you can see all the simulated racing action from green flag to victory donuts live as it happens right here on the Global SimRacing Channel via the iRacing Esports Network. A big Lone Star State hello and welcome. Up in the booth to bring you our Words Eye views, Stefan Slocker, joined by yours truly, Bill Soups On. Turning the knobs and pushing the sliders is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, armed with cameras, locked and loaded by Dougie Beard. Watkins Glen, Las Vegas, Detroit, Dallas, Phoenix, Indianapolis, U.S. cities that have all hosted Formula One. And let's not leave out my hometown of Long Beach. Currently, Austin is home to the Grand Prix, and that is where we find ourselves today. Stefan, tell us a little bit about this place.
Well, Soup, located just outside the city of El Troy in Texas, Circuit of the Americas is a track of two different worlds. In real life, generally liked, it is mostly disliked in the virtual world and regarded as a failed attempt at combining the four-wheeled and two-wheeled worlds. I'm totally not with that because I really like this track. The biggest feature are the fast and flowy first sector, which was built into a hill, along with a tight and twisty third sector that opens up in the last few turns. 20 turns in total make up this 3.4 mile long track, offering its own unique challenges to today's driver. But let us take you now on board a lap around Circuit of the Americas in our GSRC lap guide.
Alright, we've got Clayton McLeod in the GSRC Williams, so let's do a lap around COTA. Up to turn 1, this is a huge climb, and the turn-in is not only blind due to a crest, but because it's so sharp, it can be hard to spot your apex. From out of there, you immediately find yourself entering the S's, starting with turn 2. This section is all about keeping your rhythm and staying on the racing line. Valuable time will be lost if you get out of sync. Also, try not to clip the little yellow pyramids at the apexes because the car will not react well. As the corners begin to tighten towards the end, you'll notice you're climbing uphill again. This culminates with turn 9, where you've got to be careful not to spin the tires, but also not hesitate too long to get the power down. That's because 10 is flat out and offers a great opportunity to pass into 11. But this is another sharp hairpin where it'll be hard to spot your apex. Plus, with it leading onto the backstretch, it does offer your opponent a chance to pass you right back if you come off the corner poorly. It's long enough that you'll get a bit of a slipstream, and it also comes to a very abrupt end at 12 with heavy braking. This is where the majority of pass attempts are made in a race, but often the differing lines leave cars with damage when they cross over each other clumsily. Now is where you really need to show some patience with the throttle though. The back-to-back hairpins in the stadium section won't offer much in the way of chances to pass, but they will create plenty of opportunities to mess up and open the door for your competitors. The immense power of the Williams makes it easy to loop the car when getting on the throttle. From there, you come up to the triple apexer of Turkey. It's not quite flat out the whole way around, but your foot is to the floor for a surprising amount of this long corner. Then there's 19, where the track drops away right when you want it to grip. Messing up the exit offers some chances for a sneak attack into the final turn, but because it leads back onto the pit straight, you want to be careful about your opponent attacking you right back into 1. But hopefully, if you've kept it all together, you've now finished a lap around COTA.
And there is a lap around the Circuit of the Americas. All right, this being the first race of the season, we have no points to show you, but we can go back and review what happened last season in the debut season of the Batteries Not Included race. This is when they were a private hosted league. You see that Clayton McLeod won it by a single point over Mark Usher, the UK driver. The Canadian driver, it was a close battle all the way to the end, and McLeod was able to nip it at the very last round. Scott Newton out of Australia was 73 points back. You can see that it was indeed a global event, as Thomas Ziegler from Germany was 4th, and then another Canadian with Reed Miller was able to round out the overlay, but he was 300 points behind the leader, his fellow countrymate of Clayton McLeod. All right, Stefan, we're always picking up new viewers, and since this is the opening round, it's important to know, what do we got as far as race details?
Well, we are here, round 1 of 12 in total, utilizing the official iRacing sessions, so you can hop onto this series as they progress. They're also obviously following the official series. 4 drop weeks that people get here in this series, in the counted series. Race length, 37 laps here today. 1 pit stop is required. Setups obviously are open for this season. Incident cap, standard incident cap for iRacing, 17 incidents and you're out. Points, they're using the official iRacing point system for their private championship, pretty much in the forums. And I think that this is really gonna make stuff interesting yet again in this season, because we're gonna see a lot of new faces coming into this series.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Very, very healthy for the series. All the old-timers can be here, and then we pick up a few newcomers. They may be one-offs, but nevertheless fun to see. Practice is going on right now. They're just about ready to start qualifying. Let's take a quick look at... Are they in the qualifying? Yep, okay. Nobody's put in their lap test. So before those official laps start to come in, why don't we take a quick look at the weather, Steph?
Sure. Give me 2 seconds. I still have it on metric. There we go. 38 degrees Celsius, in case you're wondering, is the track temperature in the metric system. But in freedom units, we have 101 Fahrenheit on the track, 71 Fahrenheit on in the air. Sorry. Partly cloudy. Winds are pretty much non-existent here, north to northwest, about 3 to 5 miles per hour, and the humidity is at 40-60%. But that track temperature, it's really gonna put a stress on the tires today.
Since we're racing in the Americas, I guess we'll do the weather in Fahrenheit as well. All right, now we get some times coming in. Victor Prado put in a 1:36.7, sitting tentatively on the pole right now. Let's take a look at Jamie Hall looking to put in a time. Nope. Jamie's still sitting back there working down into corner number 11 right now.
I think Fernando Guerrero is gonna come over the start-finish line here to set his first lap. Which... No, never mind. That wasn't out bad. My bad.
12 drivers have put in qualifying. We did have a split today, so our field is rather small. It could have been a lot bigger, but we reached the split point, so they cut it in half. What do we have here today? It looked like 16 drivers in total.
Yeah, exactly. 16 in the first split, 16 in the second split. Keeping the fields here a little bit realistic. Bit of a shame, but I guess it's better.
Now we'll take a look at Matt Wood. Coming out of the final corner, putting in a time. Slot him in inside of row 2.
Yeah, 3rd place for him. Meanwhile, we also saw Victor Prieto put in the fastest lap of this qualifying, a 1:36.635, putting about a 6/10 gap there between him and Xavier Ross in 2nd place.
Always strong is Scott Newton. He is certainly sitting in 13th position, and he jumps up into 6th, being our 14th driver to put in a time. We talked about Jamie Hall. He was able to get one in. He is currently racing in his number 11 machine, sitting in 10th. There's Scott Ziegler, a veteran of the first season. Fernando Guerrero still looking to get one in out of turn number 20. Will this one count? Was he clean?
Yes, he was. 37.4, 3rd place there. Just about 100th behind Xavier Ross in 2nd place.
Now we'll take another look at Hall. Down into one of the interesting corners that might be the passing zone there, into 12. Then you get into this twisty section, and boy, this is tough.
Yeah, this is exactly the motorcycle section I was talking about. very twisty, but you still can, especially here, make a pass down the inside. You can really put a dive on here, and you're not gonna impede or hit someone, because you can take so many different lines through that turn. As he's already coming up to the second last turn quite fast, much faster than you would expect from a 90-degree turn. Both these last two turns are, but Jamie Hall, he's now gonna come over the line, which comes up really fast. Big wobble there for him, and he does not improve from his 38.6.
15 drivers able to put in qualifying times. Marco Sanfilippo is going to start in the back. He did not. Now, one more driver, maybe Fernando Guerrero, working through the technical section right now, currently in third. Still has time to put up one more lap number. Working through the left hand now, final corner coming up. Gets it woed up on the throttle, nothing between him now and his time. Can he improve on this? He does. Moves up one spot into second. He'll be outside of row one next to Prado. And with that, the qualifying is done. Let's go to the grid right now. Since there's 16 of them, I'll take the top 8. Victor Prado's going to sit on the inside of row 1, flanked by Fernando Guerrero. Javier Ross in the third spot. Matt Wood outside of row 2 in spot number 4. Tommy Anhola sits inside of row 3, flanked by Thomas Seeger. 7th and 8th, that's going to go to Clayton McLeod, our defending champion, and Scott Newton. Steph?
Kent Liddick is running out 9th, while Kevin Jimenez is running out your top 10. Jamie Hall, 11th place, just a mere 100th of a second behind 10th place there. Justin Gabel, 12th. Robert Harris, 13th. Adrian Refsnes in 14th. Antonio Ortiz Poveda in 15th. And rounding out your field of 16 drivers today is Marco Sanfilippo.
We got them all in. We're going to do a quick little pass over the grid here real quick. You see everybody taking their spots. Beautiful Texas sun pounding down on the racetrack today. Not many clouds in the sky here at the Lone Star State.
And Soup, I have to say, quite interesting development in qualifying. Only a single driver below the 137 mark, and that by 4/10, putting him 5/10 ahead of second place. That is quite an interesting development, and hopefully we will see that gap closed in the race.
Should be a good one. We're looking for one pit stop. Somewhere around, well, the farthest they can go, I think, is around lap 26. We'll see if they can go any farther than that. We may see some guys coming in early, depending on traffic. With a small field like this, it does open up the opportunity to come in early because you're less likely to get stuck in traffic and do the undercut. Still waiting for Fernando Guerrero to take his spot. He gets out there, and I think we're just about ready to go green. Kickoff, the battery's not included. The second season here from COTA. Gather up the chickens, take cutlery on the cows. The horses are out of the barn. It is Victor Prado comfortably into the lead. Making an attack on the outside is Xavier Ross. Not going to get that done. Oh, big top pile up.
Yeah, Scott Newton there, a bit too fast into the first turn, outbraked himself, but what a start from Javi Ross there in third place, and a miserable start from Fernando Guerrero in second place, already down to fourth place, losing 2 positions there, not the start he wanted at all.
We can come back and we'll take a look at that first corner a little bit later when the action settles down some. All the cars kept going, but boy, there was a lot of contact. I imagine some of those are damaged. They may have to come in quick, see if they can get some repairs done. Boy, I'm telling you, Ross is fast on the back of Prado right now. Look at him all over. Anhola in third under attack from Guerrero. Matt Wood rounds out your top 5. They work down now into the technical section. Prado was faster by a half a second in qualifying. He starts to distance himself a little bit now from Ross.
Yeah, getting a bit spread out already, but in the back we still have some fighting for 9th position. I think that is there between Kent Liddick and Jamie Hall, alongside with Antonio Ortiz Poveda.
Yeah, and Hall just got a little bit of a tap from Poveda as well as they got through technical section there. Coming across, getting credited with leading the first lap is Prado.
McLeod
Ross
in
in
the
second. Yeah, I believe McLeod was involved in that first lap incident. Maybe the car just too damaged to drive. Newton comes
we
in
have
at
another wreck there. Sorry, Matt Wood. Matt Wood is around. From 5th place in turn 1 around. He also got hit there, little tap by a Poveda.
Corner number 1, did it all by himself. A good job from maybe we can get a second look at it from Justin Gable. He took an interesting race line. First, we'll ride on board with the driver who was in 5th, Matt Wood.
He just overdid it on the brakes there.
Here we go. Now we'll take a look at Justin Gable. He was about 3rd to the scene. And while the other 2 drivers took the inside line, Gable decided to go around the outside, cost him a little bit, but it worked. I'll go this way. Yeah, nice job. Coming back live now. Looking at Anhola up ahead of Guerrero. Oh boy, Guerrero is really on him. Looking over the top of Guerrero's head. I can report that by the time Matt Wood got going, he's down in 14th now. Coming across the line.
Quite interesting that Guerrero, I mean, in qualifying there was only a 4/10 between the two, but still quite a bit interesting that Guerrero just isn't able to get up to speed and get past Unhola. Probably just shows how good Unhola is here in the first few laps of this race.
Looking at our 3rd place driver right now as they weave their way through the S's. Oh, I think we got another spinner. Is it Marco Sanfilippo just spun the car? He was racing back in 12th position. Doesn't hit anything. Nobody around him. You can see him back out on the track. The driver I would like to talk about is in 7th position, car number 13, Adrian Refsnes. He is up. He's our hard charger. He started in 14th. He's cut that in half. He's got a long way to go to get up to Jimenez up in 6th place. About 3 seconds up.
And one thing I can report, it's already well over a lap. Or nearly a full lap behind us, so we don't need to go there, but I can report that Antonio Ortiz Poveda, he pitted in, and on pit entry he hit the tire wall separating the track and the pit, and had quite some extensive damage to his front wing, and is now at the very back of your field.
As far as I can tell though, all those drivers that were involved in the incidents came in, took a pit stop, but they're still out there racing. We still have all 16 cars racing, including these guys who are battling for 3rd. Tommy Anhola and Fernando Guerrero. One of the closest battles on the track. This battle for 3rd. There's another good one going back behind for 8th position between Gable and Liddick. We'll take a peek at that one in a minute. Let's go there now. Yeah, let's jump in. We haven't given them much screen time. Justin Gable started in 12th, up 4 spots. Racing right where he qualified is Kent Liddick.
And not that far ahead of them is the driver of Adrian Refsnes, who we were on board just before. Let's actually see.
Well, let's go
Interestingly,
sorry, let's go to 3rd real quick. We're going to leave this one. It looks like Guerrero is really pesky on the back of Unhola. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Steph.
No, it's over. The thing I just want to say is that the interesting thing is, even though that Gable is able to stay with Refsnes, Refsnes is pretty much half a second faster than him. So kind of interesting how he can stay with him, even though he is the faster car that is ahead of him.
Yeah, I was talking, we don't need to go to Refsnes, but this to follow up on that point. He was up so many positions. I wasn't sure if that was pace or just good incident avoidance going on. Boy, this is a good one for third right now. They come down the main stretch here. Passing zone may not be here into 1. Let's stick with this a bit as they work through the twisty section. They go all the way down into 11. And that's where you have that long back straight.
And Unhola is really holding up Guerrero last time around. Unhola lost about 1.4 seconds to Javi Ross in second place ahead of him. So, yeah, Guerrero, he really needs to get past Unhola, otherwise he's gonna totally miss the trade or any chance on a P2 finish.
Now, they're heading down into 11 right now. I've been watching Guerrero. He seems to be fast. Unfortunately, it seems to be faster in the technical section, not the straight line speed where it's easier to pass. You see right here, this is a great opportunity, but he's 3 car lengths back. Let's see if he can close up in time. I don't know if he's going to get there. He's going to force it. Here he comes. He's got a shot at it. Look at the defensive line from Unhola. Oh, okay. A little bit of test. He's going to dive it in there anyway. I thought he was giving up the ghost. Doesn't get it done this time.
And they have to be careful because Thomas Ziegler behind, he is catching them by 3 to 4 tenths every single lap. And he's already very close to the back of Fernando Guerrero.
This is a good one. Yeah, they are coming. Ziegler is quick. We saw him race a lot in the opening season, the debut season. In fact, he made the top 5 graphic. There are a few other battles. Let's stick on this one for a while. We don't need to jump around too much. You get enjoy. Go ahead.
Ziegler behind, he hit the sausage curb and nearly spun himself out. Lost about 5 car lengths to the 2 cars in front of him. But no harm, no foul. He's the faster car. And if they continue to fight, he is going to be back with the 2 cars for P3 in just a few moments.
Yeah, Ziegler, a big fan right now of Unhola, hoping that he will hold up Guerrero. I think once Guerrero gets by, it's going to be good night nurse. Okay, through the technical section again. We'll stay with these guys. We saw Guerrero make an effort down into 11. Oh, look at this battle here we have for 10th.
Yeah, Gable just got past Jamie Hall there as we jumped back to that battle.
And as we look at the replay going on, I can report that Guerrero is making the pass on the outside on 12 this time. We look at this pass made.
It does seem like that Hall just had a very bad launch out of turn 1 and Gable able to jump on that and overtake him.
We got to go to third. This has been side-by-side racing through the entire technical section. Guerrero finally gets the pass made. Let's take a look at this. This pass took half the track to get done. We pick him up after corner number 12. They continue to work. That is, we look there at Unhola, and now using all the track, Guerrero gets it done. Move him up to third.
And that was a timely pass by Guerrero there as we go back in live. Because Thomas Ziegler, he is again back pretty much a second on Unhola, so he would have been there if this would have dragged on one more lap. Question is now that Guerrero is in the free air, can he go way faster than Unhola, or will he stay at the same pace? Obviously, if he can go faster, that would mean he might even be able to catch Javi Ross ahead of him in second place.
Don't need to go there. There's a report that Scott Newton had another issue. He was racing back in 13th position. He spun it again. Disappointing day for him. He qualified 8th.
And one more thing we can report is that Jamie Hall lost position 10 about half a lap ago through the technical section himself to Robert Harris, who got past him around the outside. Pretty much copy-paste of what we saw for P3.
But that does open up now a nice battle between Gable and Harris. We'll see if Harris can run him down. Hall going the wrong direction. So we'll keep an eye on Gable and Harris. Then we'll also see if Seeger can do anything with Anhola. We better go up to 4th position real quick, because Thomas got there a little faster than I thought. He is on the back of Tommy right now.
Yeah, and Guerrero showed that he can go way faster without Anhola in front of him. Already put a last lap 1.2 seconds between himself and Tommy, as Thomas Seeger is pretty much now on the back of the Williams car.
We don't need to go there, but you can see on your screen this is all taking place behind Prado and Ross, who are racing 1-2. This is a good battle, though, here for 3rd. Seeger was able to watch and see how the pass was made. Now he has the same opportunity out of 11th. Way too far back, though, this time, unless he really takes a dive bomb into 12 to make anything happen. Here's a good one, though. Remember Adrian Resneff? We talked about him being our hard charger. Well, Liddick caught him.
Yeah, last lap about a 10th faster than Resneff, and Gabe, he is also catching the 2 of them by about 7/10 last lap.
We'll have to keep our camera focused on Resneff in front, because for me, Liddick's popping in and out a little bit. Boy, but he is really working them. Again, Resneff made up all those positions. Some from pace, some from this really being really good at getting around cars that were parked on the track. This is one of the closest battles on the track right now.
Yeah, trying to keep half an eye there on the battle for 4th position meanwhile too, but they're right now for 7th place. They're way closer right now, but if something happens, we'll jump you directly up to P4 battle. But Refsnaz...
Go ahead. Let's jump to 13th position. We thought that we might see a battle between Wood and Newton, but we did not think it would be for 13th. Wood qualified 4th, Wood and Newton in 8th. Goes.
Yeah, no, and it shows the interesting thing here is Matt Wood, his last lap at 39.9 for Scott Newton at 39.4, and pace-wise they're catching the guys ahead of them by 1.5 to 2 seconds per lap. But Marcus and Filippo, the car ahead of him. He's right now entering the long straight, so yeah, pretty much about a third of a lap behind the next car these 2 are.
Wood and Newton both made a pit stop, but it was way too early out of the window. They'll need to make one more, like everybody else. No changes in position anywhere on track between those battles that we were watching. All right. We are contracted to put the camera on the leader for so many matter of minutes each race. So let's see if we can fulfill our obligation by looking at Victor Prado. He is out there cooking with hot fish grease, almost 7 seconds up on Ross, who races in 2nd.
Yeah, and last lap he made a bit of a mistake, but still he put a gap of 3/10 on Xavi Ross on just that last lap with a mistake. So Victor Prado, he is the number 1, and he's showing why he has that number 1 in the split.
Yeah, absolutely. Smooth as dolphin skin as we ride on board, looking over his right shoulder. Equally as smooth as Xavi Ross after a contested first couple corners. He's been in 2nd. He's a man all by himself. 7 seconds behind Prado, 8 seconds ahead of Guerrero.
Yeah, you're saying it, Xavi Ross. He is getting caught though by Guerrero, even though Guerrero had a big mistake the last lap, lost 1.5 seconds again to Ross. But Ross, he is not 100% safe in this race for P2, because Guerrero, if he can keep his speed up and stay out of trouble and own mistakes, he might get there by the end of the race.
All right, let's check back in on that battle for 7th again. This is between Resneff and Lytic. This is the best battle on the track. A little tighter than the Wood-Newton battle, a little tighter than the Unhola-Ziegler battle. Adrian doing a good job of staying out in front. Coming out of the final corner. We have not seen a pass down into 1 other than at the start of the race. Let's go ahead and stay with them all the way to corner number 12. That'll be the first passing. Boy, he really missed the apex there, and Refness was a little wide. Well, you can see him skip through those rhythm section here. Continuing to twist back and forth.
Seems like Kent Lytic in behind, he is having a bit more downforce than what Resness is having on his car, because through that first sector he really closed up the gap there, and he is a tiny little bit stalling out on long straight.
Yeah. Got a pretty good drive out of 11, but boy, he is just losing a ton of time. He's not closing the gap nearly like the other cars that we saw were able to make the pass, and that really makes it tough. He's going to be probably quicker again through this technical section back here on the back half of the track, but boy, so hard to make a pass here. Look at him gathered up.
Yeah, you're saying it exactly, and Thomas Seeger, he is having a bit of a different problem with Tommy Hola in front of him for that P4 fight. He's having exactly the opposite. He doesn't have as much downforce as Hola in front of him. As Gable had a problem, I'm hearing. Let's
right
see, where are we here?
Looking at this one again, we get another look. We'll go onboard camera after this one with Robert Harris. He had a real good look at it. There's Harris. There we go. We'll take a look at this one from Bob Harris. You be the driver. Go left, go right.
Alright, so the interesting thing here is Justin Gable, that's by the way turn 15 right there, and he's taking too much curb, and because of that hits the sausage curbs and totally spins his car out because of that big bump off the sausage curb. So a bit unfortunate there for Gable, losing out at that P9 position and losing quite some valuable time to the guys ahead.
We'll go back at this battle. Oh, I love that camera shot. A little drone cam there. This is a good one, but again, does Lytic have any straight line speed to get this done? This is the closest I've seen him so far. Force the issue here, Kent, and he does. He gets to the inside now. Make it stick. And you should be home free from here now. Nice job.
Interesting by Refsness. He did go on the brakes at the same time as the Lytic, but just didn't brake hard enough to make the turn and completely went by wide there, letting Lytic by. So yeah, a bit of a mistake there from Refsness. And the interesting part will be now, is he able to stay with Lytic, or will Lytic just run away with this?
So with that one settling down, let's look at our other battle we were keeping an eye on Hola and Ziegler. Tommy and Hola just kind of minding the gap, about a half seconds up on the number 12 machine.
Yeah, as I said already, Seeger's having less downforce than Hola in front of him, so it's really hurting through that turn 16, 17, 18, that kind of like Turkey turn 8 style corner. He's having really big problems through there, but especially here in the straight, he's always getting quite a bit when he is in a draft. So yeah, if he wants to make a pass somewhere, it has to be in that turn 12, 13, 14, 15 section, because otherwise he is just not able to close that gap in.
You know, I've spent so much time racing in my little MX-5, this underpowered car, and that's all about getting in the draft and saving fuel. No, oh boy, look at this battle. This is really hot. That's something that really doesn't make much difference here in these Formula 1 cars, right?
Well, the only way you really save fuel is by lift and coast at the end of long straights, but other than that, Fuel is not really that efficient to save through normal turns or shorter straights. You can save some into turn 1, but you don't really want to because you can brake so late because of how steep this turn is. You're gonna see people brake as late as the pit exit line that goes across the track. So that's really late. That's like 75 meters away from your apex already. So it's always a bit difficult to, especially a track like here, to save fuel. On other tracks it's a bit easier, but generally speaking, in this Frank Williams 31, it's really hard to save fuel.
So you talked about the Williams, and they made the switch, I guess, in this series to put the McLaren on the shelf for a little while. What are your thoughts about that, Steph?
Well, it's certainly an interesting move, and from what you hear of the iRacing community, of the road iRacing community, the FW31 is more liked than the complicated MP430. Yeah, 30.
Right.
So yeah,
and hence if you're wondering about the background of the series title, batteries not included, that's kind of what this is all about here. None of those little gadgetries that the McLaren has on it.
Yeah, exactly. No gadgets here, no DRS, no batteries. Makes the car much easier to set up, which is also helping the popularity of the FW31 over the MP430.
Puts on a good show. And honestly, from just a fan point of view, that's all I'm looking for. You can't tell the difference in speed, and maybe the drivers enjoyed the technical aspects of it. But for me, I want to see what I'm looking here on the screen. Uh-oh. That's Marco Filippo. San Filippo had a bit of a spin. He was racing in 11th position.
Yeah, out of turn 14, he just out of turn 13 actually, he just smashes the throttle a bit too much. We're gonna see it in just a moment here. There he comes now into turn 13, just smashes the throttle a bit too much, then spins into the grass, and coming out of the grass, he again smashes it a bit too hard and spins his car around yet again.
Now, what that does do, though, I appreciate a little bit, is it does set up a little battle here. That puts him within striking distance of Matt Wood. Wood trying to climb through the field now. If you remember, Wood was in that battle with Newton. He has left Scott Newton well behind. I think Newton might have had issues. He's now almost 10 seconds behind Wood. Alright, check back in on this battle. Go ahead, Steph.
Yeah, I just want to say our director tells us to go into this battle 4P4 as Tom Seeger lights up the rear tires out of turn 14. Yeah, he did light his tires up out of turn 15, and then yet again through turn 16. Lost quite a lot of time yet again in his battle.
Well, he's working hard. He is working hard. You make one mistake, you lose all your momentum. Let's go to the leader real quick. This is an interesting battle that we might have expected to see. This is Fredo in a battle with Clayton McLeod. Unfortunately for our fans and for all the friends and family of Clayton McLeod, McLeod is a lap down, but just goes to show you, look at the pace from McLeod, though. That's your defending champion. To be able to hang right there with Fredo. And we'll stay on this for a minute. Let's talk about how the point systems works. Now, they're going to give points to, I would imagine they will give points to anybody that races in. Oh my goodness, careful there. Cloud saves it. Woo. Anybody who races in either split is the way I would think they would do it. If there was a split, you should be penalized if you end up with a second split. But boy, there's going to be a lot of points today for this one, as the strength of field pretty good, especially when we have a split.
Yeah, and San Filippo is in the pits, as you can see. He's making his first and only scheduled pit stop there, right around the halfway mark of this race. So first guy in the pits, he was 12th coming into the pits. He's, I think, now 13th? No, he's 15th now.
Yeah.
So yeah, first guy in the pits is splitting his strategy right around halfway through this race. Will be interesting to see if he can close the gap a little bit to Matt Wood.
I was watching some of the other races to get an idea of how this one might play out. Of course, they race all week long. And almost everybody, at least the successful drivers, all ran it long. Get the car as light as possible for as long as possible. So I would expect most of these stops to come at lap 26 or so. What the split does do is it thins out the field a little bit, and you can make that early stop and not be hurt too badly as far as traffic goes. Go ahead.
As you said about the pit stop strategy, I don't think it comes to anyone's surprises that a Formula 1 car is the fastest on light fuel and new tires. So yeah, just split that strategy, just like put it on as much fuel as you can, and then just run it till it is dry, and yeah, and then pretty much do a qualifying stint at the end.
Things are spacing themselves out a little bit now as we get nearer to that first pit stop.
Honestly, I have to say, I don't think we're gonna see a lot of people pitting anytime soon, other than Marcus and Filippo. I think everyone will try to follow that strategy that I just said. Just fill it up, run as long as you can, and then go in for a bit of a qualifying stint. Push your tires as hard as you can in that last short stint, and maybe be able to overtake someone.
You know, a driver that we probably haven't given a lot of attention to. Can we go to the driver in 9th position right now, racing in car number 7? This is Robert Harris. Other than Resness, he is our hard charger. He is up 4 spots from where he started. Gridded in 13th. All by himself right now. We saw him lose a spot to the likes of Resness as he went around, but having a good run. Got about 4 seconds up on Justin Gable.
Actually, I just saw this. I didn't realize it, but Jamie Hall, he did also already pit. He's done in 14th position, so he's actually right now your leader of the cars that did pit already. Jamie Hall, I'm gonna guess he pitted because he was having some big problems with his tires, losing 2 positions in just a matter of a few moments. A few laps ago.
Now Sanfilippo pitted just a lap ago. Hall pitted almost 7 laps ago, but I still think that's right at the front of the window.
Jamie, keep it steady there. Bit hard on his tires. Obviously, he's used to the clutch power of his Audi 90 GTO in the
Yeah, he is. He's taking some interesting racing lines right now. All right, let's drop in on the driver in 6th position. This is Kevin Jimenez. Up 4 spots, having a good run.
Yeah, you're saying it, up 4 positions, started in 10th, in 6th right now. He's about 3 seconds behind Seeger. Let's actually take a look here. Seeger is about a 10th faster per lap, but Seeger just having so many issues, putting in so many self-spins or near self-spins in his laps that he's actually getting closer to Jimenez than he is getting closer to Unhola right now. But 3 seconds between Seeger and Unhola, who is still in 4th, just minding his business, knowing he's not the fastest car on track, but just keeping it steady, keeping his car out of troubles, out of bad mistakes. A little mistake there just now for him through turn 12. But yeah, apart from small, very little uncostly mistakes, he is doing fine, and he's just clicking down his laps.
Racing out of Iberia. As we get to be more familiar with the drivers, we'll figure out exactly what country they race out of, whether he is... My guess is, I'm going to guess Spain on this one. I could be wrong. Portugal's certainly an option.
Oh, you're talking about Jimenez? Yeah. I was confused because I was talking about Unhola, who is obviously Finnish.
No,
but yeah, Jimenez. I think he is Spanish, if I remember correctly.
Yes, Tommy Unhola, part of the Armada racing out of Finland. That's still a pretty close battle between Unhola there and Ziegler, the German driver. Still under just about 2 seconds.
Alright, so I was a bit sneaky and went onto Kevin's profile, and he has location Barcelona, so I was right, he is Spanish.
Nice call. Alright, we got some pit stops that are coming in. Cable has come in. So he comes in now, looking to see who's going to get around him.
Now, Refsnes was also in pits, by the way. So both Refsnes and Gable making their pit stops, putting them ahead of the pitted terrain now.
Yep.
Who was led by Jamie Hall.
Here comes Newton from way back. Yep.
What I find interesting is that they use, I don't know what pit configuration they use. Is that IndyCar? Because they have that pit wall here, which obviously isn't a thing in Formula 1. Or maybe they're using IMSA. I think they're also using a pit wall here instead of the garages.
They're all starting to come in now. This is lap 20, a little earlier than I thought they might.
Well, seems like that this is the end of the pit window, though.
Yep.
I'm gonna have a look at Prieto, who's right now in turn 13.
Well, that's a good-looking car from Ziegler. Good to see him with that paint. He's in and out. So that'll be fun. Ziegler was close enough to put the pressure on Unhola to make a good stop. Top 4 cars still yet to pit. Prado, Ross, Guerrero, and Unhola.
And Victor Prieto is going into pit lane now, so... Oh, I think that was close there with his pit limiter. Got it just on the line there with his pit speed, but yeah, it seems like that this is the end of the stint for everyone, as Javier Ross also comes in from second place.
Yeah, I thought they'd go to 26. They're not going to get that far. 22 looks like the number.
Oh, as Fernando Guerrero is actually going past and inherits the lead now from Victor Prieto. So Guerrero, your new leader of this car race.
Out there in the front now. It's gone halfway. He's hoping for Godzilla to attack and this race to be called, and he will be the winner. A lot of iRacers asking for Ray. Uh-oh. That was Newton having more trouble.
I think Newton also called it with that spin here on top of the mountain, because I do not see him racing anymore.
We can report Guerrero stayed out, as did Tommy Unhola. Unhola is the one that we really want to watch, because he was the closest one that maybe Ziegler might be able to catch him during the pit stop.
I wonder if Newton got disqualified with that, because he was not yet stopping and just disappeared there.
I think you're onto something there, Steph.
Let's have actually a look at Guerrero, who once again goes past the pit lane.
That's because he wants to get to lap 26 and prove the commentator right. Stay out there, Fernando.
How about Tommy? him and Unhola are the sole two cars to still make their scheduled pit stop. Obviously, we also have a few down below, like Blake McLeod, who still has to pit. But of the top 5, only Unhola and Guerrero are still to be pitting. And Unhola right now in 3rd, and Guerrero obviously in 1st.
Yeah, obviously, but just to show you the dominance of Victor Pareto, he's made a stop, and he's out in front of Unhola, even with making a stop.
Yeah, pit stop delta is about 25 seconds here, which is pretty much the same like you have in real life, which I think is 24 seconds. But yeah, it just shows how dominant Victor Prieto is. Xavi Ross, he is right now also quite a bit behind Prieto. And it might actually get very close between Guerrero and Xavi Ross, because they're at the line last lap around. They were separated by 24.9 seconds.
Yeah, the interval between Unhola and Ziegler, which I thought would be close, is 34 seconds. I don't think that's it, but I think you're right.
And Guerrero this time around goes into pit lane very late lunch there, onto pit lane, right on the pit limiter at the line. And now it gets interesting where Xavi Ross is coming right now through turn 16. So I think he might stay ahead of Guerrero, but it will get close.
Now into corner number 19. Guerrero just getting to his box. Ross out of the final corner. Guerrero still in his box. Guerrero rolling. Well, he'll see him, at least.
Just look at how he closed up that gap. That's just 1.5 seconds right now between the two, when it was well over 10 seconds before the stop. There's a very great stint there at the end by Fernando Guerrero, and now it's all about, can you catch the red?
Yeah, when I look at the stop times and the cone-to-cone time for both Guerrero and Ross, they were similar, so maybe Ross made a mistake somewhere on his outlap that we didn't catch. Nevertheless, Ross has some pretty good pace.
I honestly think that's just due to the overcut, because looking at the last lap times there on the bottom of your screen, Guerrero was about 1/10 faster than Xavi Ross.
Well, that's good. That'll make for a good battle. And Hola does come in, makes his stop. He gets out about 6 seconds ahead of Ziegler. And now everybody has made their stops. So with 14 laps to go here, why don't we, since McLeod makes his final stop, let's go ahead and run through the field real quick, tell you how this thing's sorted out. We'll go up front with our leader. He has been the leader since early on. He's got 20 seconds on Xavi Ross. Ross back in second, but he's going to have to work for it. We're going to come back and check on this one in a minute, because, like my partner said, Guerrero might be faster. Guerrero racing in third. Only has to worry about looking ahead. He's got 20 seconds back to Tommy Unhola. Hola in fourth. And then I'll take the next one. I'll turn it over to Steph. Let's go back and look at Thomas Ziegler. All by himself now. Probably lost any chance of getting to Unhola unless Unhola makes a mistake. And about 6 seconds up on the man that Steph's going to talk about.
Yeah, next up is the car 6 of Kevin Jimenez, starting in 10th, right now in 6th. So great race by him, and he also pretty much is in no man's land. 5 seconds in front of Kent Liddick and 6 seconds behind Thomas Ziegler. Kent Liddick, as already mentioned, he is right now your 7th place driver. He gained himself 2 positions from his starting grid of 9th place. Matt Wood, on the other hand, though, in 8th place. He is completely going the wrong direction. He's starting 4th, right now in 8th position, over a minute behind your leader of Victor Prieto. Adrian Refsness, though, he is probably the big man, the big mover of this race today. Started in 14th, still in 9th position after the pit stops have cleaned up. He's about 3 seconds behind Matt Wood, but he's only 2 seconds in front of Robert Harris, who is rounding out your top 10 of this motor race.
And then I'll quickly just touch on these guys here that are racing before we get back up to the battle that is interesting between Ross and Guerrero. You got Justin Gable back in 11th, the last car on the lead lap. Jamie Hall is still out there racing in 12th. He's a lap down. Now I want to go to Clayton McLeod. He has found himself in some interesting action today, even though he is a lap down. Just a few minutes ago, the 2 cars in front of him that were by Ross and Guerrero, he did a good job of getting out of the way, but man, that was some exciting racing. Last car racing out there is Marco Sanfilippo in 14th. Marco, we love you. This keeps swimming, baby. All right, let's go ahead and look at that battle now for a second.
Great, now I have that song stuck in my head for today. But yeah, Fernando Guerrero, he is gaining ever so slightly on Javi Ross, but he is having some big troubles getting to the car in front of him. Last lap about a 10th faster than Ross ahead of him, but yeah, we just have to keep monitoring this race here as Ross ahead once again a bit wide through turn 13. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how these two fight it out and what their setup philosophies are for this track. If they have a different approach or a similar approach, which obviously both ways it would get very interesting.
That camera looking off the back of the gearbox there of Ross as Guerrero stalks him. That interval there, that is about 7 car lengths if you want to get a perspective how far he is back from that angle. Considerably closer now as he closes up as the concertina effect. Boy, you can really get a feeling of that concertina effect, that accordion effect as they go to the corner, the car gets close and then gets away.
And it is now going to get a little bit interesting as the lap car of Jamie Hall is ahead of them, so Javi Ross is getting himself a little bit of dirty air from that number 11 car of Jamie Hall in front of him. But now they're going towards that big backstretch, and that's obviously going to help Javi Ross a little bit better to defend his position over Fernando. Now, especially that Jamie Hall made a bit of a mistake, so he's going to really close in that gap as Jamie Hall also lifts off the throttle there.
With my bad rods and cones, I'd give you those colors. Looks like 3 different ripeness varieties of some type of citrus to me there. Go. Got my director, banana, lime, and another.
I would go with that as a kiwi.
Okay, kiwi, okay. For those of you unfamiliar with your lead commentator, I have a severe case of color blindness there, so I have a tendency to get them wrong. Hey, we got another battle to look at back here, 8th position. Hey,
and
this is Robert Harris, yeah.
Robert Harris found Adrian Resness again after they did separate a little bit after some mistakes of Robert Harris. But Robert Harris seems to be the faster car last lap, around 3/10 between the two. And this pretty much is a battle of the hard charges of this race.
Yep. Up 6 and up 4 position. We're going to leave that one because the one up front is just as hot and the points are worth more up here. Ross and Guerrero. In both of these battles that we were watching there, Steph, I think the car that's chasing is faster. I think Guerrero is faster than Ross. And I think Harris is faster than Resniff, so this will be fun.
Well, Guerrero is faster, yes, but he is not faster by that much. Now, especially with the very dirty air of the car ahead of Ross, he only gained a few hundredths of a second, but look at how much he's closing in there. Goes to the defensive line there, Ross. Round the outside, that's not going to work. Turn 12, can he do the under switcheroo? And no, he cannot. Great defend there by Ross, and he stays in second place for now.
But he'll get 9 more shots at it, and that's just a little reconnaissance racing there. Just testing the water, see what we'll try it again next time around. In fact, he's close enough that maybe he'll try it out at 20 and get a pass down into corner number 1. We haven't seen that done all day.
speaking about turn 1, Robert Harris just did that on Resness. Perfect overtake through turn 1. And he is now your, what is that, 8th position driver.
Let's go ahead. We're going to take a look at this one because we haven't seen a pass into corner number 1 much today, so we'll get an idea how it's done. And what that does do is move Harris up 5 spots and brings Resness down to a 5th spot advance, so they're now tied as hard chargers. There's the pass being made into 1.
Yeah, the problem with turn 1 is because it goes so steep up, you can brake so late, and so you would pretty much need to lick about 4 stamps there and send it, because otherwise you're not going to be able to make a pass unless you're alongside like Matt Wood was there. Harris was on Resness.
Oh, here we have Wood and Gable. Yeah.
Wood. Yeah, I was speaking about Wood because I was watching that battle on accident. But yeah, Matt Wood, he is battling with Justin Gabe, not able to do anything through the motorcycle section of COTA.
Now remember, Gable qualified 12th, Matt Wood qualified 4th. Wood should have the pace, assuming his car is healthy. So we'll continue to look at this battle, and we'll keep one eye on the Ross and Guerrero battle, which is also tight. But this one looks fun right now. Let's give these guys a little lock of love. I may give you a scream and take you away from this one, in case Guerrero tries something.
Yeah, these two are literally just up the road from our P2 battle. P2 battle is going right now through the second last turn as Xavi Ross actually made a big mistake.
Yeah, we better go here. Ross has made a mistake. He's right now. Guerrero is right on his gearbox. Here we get maybe a chance to make a pass down into 1. I love the point you just made about the uphill braking. Let's see what happens here. Little dipsy-doo, a little hokey-doke, a little hucklebuck, a little up and under. Not going to work this time, but boy, he is right there now. Look at him work him. To the left, to the right, both sides of the street like a jaywalking mailman, trying to see if he can find his way around Xavi Ross. Ross making that car wider than a Julia Roberts smile right now as they work through 8 and 9.
And quick update, Matt Wood just got past Justin Gable through turn 10, which Fernando Guerrero and Xavi Ross are going through right now.
That was to be expected. Oh my goodness, he is right on him right now. I don't think there's any way that Ross can keep ahead of Guerrero. Ross weaving like a loom, trying to break the draft. Taking a racing line like a drunken sailor. Here comes the move. Guerrero's going to have to wait, and he's not going to get it done. Boy, he is right there.
Through turn 12, he was trying to swing wide and really get some run on Xavi ahead of him, but Xavi just parked it right on the apex to defend his position. Great awareness by Ross to deny the run of Guerrero on him.
We'll stay on it because we saw an attack into corner number 1. There are really 2 places you can make it. Down into 1 and then down into, or actually up into 1 and then into 12. I think Guerrero might be a little too far back this time, but the draft is big. Let's see what happens into 1. And again, just to follow up, I love what you were talking about making a pass into 1 because it's uphill, and it just means that the braking zone is shallower. You can brake much better, I guess, into that one, so it makes it harder to outbrake somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Because it goes up, you have the gravity helping you with the brakes, so you can brake later and way harder than you would on a flat surface for that turn. Pretty much shortens the braking zone by about 100 meters.
I just learned something. We can just report that while we were watching this battle, Justin Gable is, he had a spin. It might have been an incident. He might have maxed out on incident.
I think Mr. Gable ran out of incident points because he was on full stride and got off the track there through turn 6, cutting a bit too much to the inside there. So I think that's another case of running into the incident cap.
All right, we're gonna stay on. We're gonna stay on this one up here in second position. This is some good racing.
As ahead of them, you saw it on the top of your screen, Victor Prieto ran another purple lap there, 137.699. Just to give you reference, that's a full second faster than what Xavi Ross did.
Check his luggage for stolen towels. He has checked out. Boy, look at Guerrero. Nothing's going to be hard to do anything through here. Boy, look at him weave.
I think on Xavi Ross you can really see how his car is getting really loose on the throttle. So I think Xavi Ross is just using up his tires so much that he's now really running into troubles with tire wear, or rather tire grip, for these cars. And Fernando Guerrero, he's getting help by his later pit stop that he had over Xavi Ross, and he's really close now.
Yeah. Let's see what kind of line that Ross takes, puts it right out of the middle. He's going to force Guerrero to do around the top, but boy, he's going to get him cleared, I think, even before the corner. He does. He can pull down in. He doesn't slam the door, though, so some gentleman racing. But he's going to have to try it again.
On the artificial turf, they're way too hard on the throttle. Nearly loses his car into Xavi Ross, but he showed that he has the way better straight line speed over the orange-ish car of Ross, so I think it's only a matter of time now that Fernando Guerrero gets by Xavi Ross for good.
Yeah, he honestly had him cleared. He just didn't need to press the issue and cut down in front of Ross. He knows he has 4 or 5 more tries at it at that corner. Don't need to go there. This is the whole of racing in 4th position, all by himself. Remember this guy? There's Victor Prieto. Up by 28 seconds. He's got a little bit of a battle in front of him. This is Harris and Refness. Remember them?
Yeah, Refness is able to stick with Harris, which I'm honestly a little bit surprised about. But Refness just made a bit of a mistake there onto the backstretch, losing immediately about half a second there as he goes wide to...
Let's go to Ross! Ross just made a mistake. And Guerrero gets the pass made. This was just a matter of pressure being applied by Guerrero. And I think, Stefan, you talked about it, tires here.
Yeah, and we saw it right there as we go into replay. That's through turn 9 here. Just lights his tires up there. We're on Guerrero there. There ahead of him, you can see it just lights them up and spins out.
Look at it one more time, and yep. Ross just makes a mistake, gets the car a little bit sideways, and Guerrero says, thank you very much. And he moves up into second. There it is. Good job of Xavi keeping it off the wall.
And now Xavi Ross is really pushing his car out of turn 15. He once again did lit up his tires really hard. Put a nice 11 there on the tarmac. So yeah, Xavi Ross really feeling this tire wear right now.
And now, while we were covering that, Prieto got through that battle between Refness and Harris. Was I correct? Wasn't Refness ahead of that one? So did Harris must have made that pass? No, was Harris in front?
Yes.
Okay. Well, he opens it up now to 2.2 seconds on Refness.
The only thing with Refness was that through turn 12 he went so wide that he lost about 2 seconds on Harris there, so that's why you see that big gap between the two.
That's right, the pass was made because I remember I mentioned it that they both now are 5 points gained, 5 position gained. We saw Harris make that pass on Refness a while ago. So how much racing do we have left? About 4 laps. And nothing but that Godzilla attack is going to keep Victor Prieto from getting a win here today.
We need a sudden rain shower on this server right now to stop him from winning, but Xavi Ross right now, he's once again struggling through turn 13, once again lights his tires up, nearly spins out, And yeah, Xavier Ross is now totally out of the battle for P2. Probably has to settle for P3 and has to be a little bit careful because he's only, 13 seconds now ahead of Unhola, and if he continues to make mistake after mistake in every single turn, he might run into some pressure of Unhola.
You're watching GSRC's coverage of the Batteries Not Included Season number 2, the 2019 spring season, the opening round. And it's coming your way on the iRacing Esports Network. You know, the best of the best in the iRacing World Championships, as well as top private leagues like the one you're watching right now, showcased right here on iRacing Esports Network. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe. GSRC is proud to be part of the IESN stable of broadcasters. And we certainly are, IESN and GSRC, both with a full slate of broadcasts coming your way today.
Xavier Ross, I'm continuing to watch him. Xavier Ross out of turn 9 yet again, super hard on his tires, lights them up yet again, losing another 3/10 to the car ahead of Fernando Guerrero, so he's really struggling with his car right now.
Bad news for Ross is he's now almost 4 seconds behind Guerrero. The good news is he's got 25 seconds until the fin of Tommy Unhola catches him. 2 laps to go. Tip of the hat to Victor Prado, wire to wire. And it should be a good points day for him with a pretty good strength of field here. And we'll have all those points for you next week as we will chart how these drivers do. Who will race full-time? Who will this be part-times? Who will be the ringers coming in, showing up out of the blue and getting the win? Right on board the red machine of Victor Prado.
Well, if we are talking about ringers showing out of the blue to win, Victor Prieto looking forward from last season. He wasn't a part of last season of the Private League, but now that these guys are racing the official iRacing series, Prieto pretty much came out of the blue, and he is taking this series pretty much just himself right now. Over 30 seconds between him and Guerrero behind, so he is really just storming away with this win.
I applaud the decision to go to the official iRacing because this was a great series last season. That maybe their weakness was sometimes the car counts were a little low, but that shouldn't be a problem now. Let's drop in on P6 again and look at Kevin Jimenez. Started in 10th, up 4 spots, very, very quiet. Smooth as dolphin skin all race long.
Yeah, and Kent Liddick, he is not all that far behind. Only about 2 seconds right now on the last update there. But Liddick, he is faster by about half a second, about 6/10 on the last lap. So if Kent is fast, he might be able to do something on the last lap.
Congratulations to all the drivers who made the top split. And thank yous to all the Williams pilots who came out in both splits today. Healthy 32 drivers showed up. We're looking there at which driver is that director? Is that I'm going to guess Guerrero? Oh, it's Jimenez. Yeah. Oh, it's Jimenez. I'm sorry. There we go. See, I got the color wrong there. That was clearly a darker shade of citrus. Why don't we go ahead and we haven't given much love to Victor Prado. Let's go ahead and follow him as he works around what will be his final lap. He has the white flag. He's coming up to corner number 20. Wire to wire. It is the Batteries Not Included season opening round. From COTA goes to Victor Prado. Fernando Guerrero still working through the technical section. Some 30 seconds behind Prado. Should get second place. It's a good run from him. He qualified in second, lost that spot, was able to get back around Ross. Finishes Stefan right where he gridded in second. Same story for Yavi Ross. Zavi comes out of the final corner. He'll come home. Our final podium finisher. 7 drivers on the lead lap. The 4th one being the Finn, Tommy Unhola. Let's go ahead and stay on him. We'll talk about our 5th place driver as well as Unhola comes around. Final corner. We didn't hear much from Thomas Ziegler once he Unhola got away from him, but a nice quiet run for him, rounding out your top 5. We talked about Jimenez and then Kevin Liddick. Go 6th and 7th. Those are the last cars on your lead lap. And as they come across, the racing is over here at Kona. Hey, but our broadcast is far from done. We'll take a short break. We'll come back to run down the entire finishing order, talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate. Back in a few. Don't go far. Coming your way on the Global SimRacing Channel via the iRacing Esports Network. This is the opening round of the Batteries Not Included series, the 2019 Spring Season Championship, hailing to you out of the Circuit of the Americas. The results are in. Let's give them to you now. Victor Prado goes wire to wire, picking up the first win of the season. Fernando Guerrero had to work a little bit to get his second position back, but he got it. Xavi Ross really good in third. Tommy and Hola had a nice run in 4th, rounding out your top 5. Thomas Seeger. 7th and 8th, 6th, 7th, and 8th go to Kevin Jimenez, Kent Liddick, and Robert Harris. I'm going to give the step for the rest of you.
Adrian Resnes is your tight hard charger of this race in a 9th place, coming from 14th. Matt Wood going the wrong direction, losing 6 positions himself from 4th to 10th. Clayton McLeod, miserable start for him to the season, started in 7th, finished in 11th, a lap down. Jamie Hall, we saw him struggle quite a lot here in this motor race today, finishing in 12th position. Mark Sanfilippo, the last car to finish this race, in 13th place. And your 3 drivers not to see the checkered flag today are Justin Gable, 8 laps down, Scott Newton, 17 laps down, and Antonio Ortiz Poveda, 25 laps down, back in 16th position.
And now I get the honor of talking to the Australian driver, Scott Newton. Scott, this is why God made drop races.
Yeah, exactly, Bill. I knew that coming into this race, COTA was going to be a bit of a weak track for me, and yeah, it proved the point today, sadly.
You got caught up in that lap 1 incident there. That was your car picked up damage for that one? I saw you were keeping going it straight, but you couldn't drive it.
Yeah, well, I got a fairly decent start, getting Clayton and the car in front of me on the start, and yeah, sadly I just misjudged it a little bit and went in too deep. I think if I didn't pinch the brakes, I probably would have run up the back of Fernando that was in front of me. But yeah, because I pinched the brakes, it caused a chain reaction behind, and yeah, I just wanted to apologise to Clayton and all the guys behind. Yeah, it was completely my fault on that one.
It's racing.
Exactly. And yeah, just coming through, was it the triple right-hander in the final sector? Yeah, because of the thick of the rear wing damage, the car was unstable through there, because normally there's a flat-out corner in this car, and yeah, as soon as I turned in and got to the middle of the corner, the car just dropped itself. So yeah, I was on the incident limit pretty early, and yeah, just after the pit stop, yeah, I think I made one mistake and that was all over. So anyway, on to the next one.
I'll get you out of here on this question. This will help me judge the strength of the field and the quality of the drivers. You qualified 8th. We know you're fast. How did you feel about your qualifying lap today? Was that a good one for you, or do you think you had more in there?
It's tough to say, really, because COTA's a really weak track for me. So
okay,
yeah, it's there probably we could have been a bit more in it, but with the 2 laps that we have now compared to the 10 or so minutes that we had with batteries not included, there's a lot less room for error. So you've got to nail those 2 laps to be able to qualify up the front.
That's a great point. That's really interesting. It makes qualifying more volatile. Well, look, you got 4 drop races. We'll use one. We'll see you down the road, and we're going to Germany next time, so we'll see you there.
Yep. No worries. Cheers, Bill.
All right. There you have it, Scott Newton. We know him from many different series. Okay, Steph, you got somebody.
Yes, I'm here with Tommy Unhola, your 4th place finisher of today here at Circuit of the Americas. And Tommy, quite an interesting race for you there today. We saw you in quite a few battles. How did it feel to you?
Well, it was fun race. Really hard to drive as I had kind of lots of fuel in the beginning, and I'm very tired as I have been waking so early to watch real world Formula 1. So yeah, first practice was I woke up at 2:30 in the morning, and it has been felt like it's night after since, and I have not waken properly up. So actually, I was just came here to drive and survive, so I got to be happy about 4th place as I made few mistakes, and yeah, battles were really fun, and Fernando made a great pass on outside. We went many corners side by side, and it was great overtake. I went bit wide on that last corner and could not get on the throttle to keep it safe, so he got it, and that was really fun. So it was pretty fun race, as I don't really like the track, so...
And there is once again what I brought up in the start of this broadcast. Not really liked by virtual racers as it is in real life. But you said it. You just tried to keep it on the track, and that's exactly what you did, because you kind of have to be honest here. Seeger behind you, he was the faster car, but he made so many mistakes that at the end he lost all the positions and all the traction in his tires, and just wasn't able to keep up with you because you were so stable here today at Circuit of the Americas. But going forward to next week, we're going to Nürburgring, if I remember correctly. How are you feeling with such a completely different track than what COTA is?
Well, actually, I'm really waiting forward to it, as I have driven it before with this car. Actually, I didn't get so much practice as I usually do, and have not raced here. Actually, not sure if with anything, and for sure not with this car. So, yeah, I have been driving at Nürburgring more and raced this car once there. So. It should be better for me, and a bit more speed and consistency, so I'm really waiting forward to it.
Well, 4th place is a great start to your career here at Circuit of the Americas. But that was Tommy and Hola, your 4th place finisher in this motor race. And so you really have to say 37 laps they clicked by in just a moment.
Boy, it was quick. You want to know why we are called the Global SimRacing Channel? Our 2 interviews, one from Australia, one from Finland, opposite sides of the globe. For a man who grew up when a long-distance call to Europe would cost you a week's salary, it's pretty amazing what can be done here. But for all you new generations, it was the baby boomers. We walked on the moon. What have you done since then? So take that. We'd like to thank everybody who made this possible, Clayton McLeod in particular, and all the people for Batteries Not Included that had decided to have Global SimRacing Channel cover their series. We're glad to be part of it. Thanks to the company's equipment and software that we use to stream cyberspace into your place. Additional thanks go to Eric Ekholm and June Lalonde, who provide us with our music. See the screen to how to contact each of them. Hey, you liked what you saw? Well, we're going to be back in a week. Batteries Not Included in returns for round 2, Grand Prix Circuit at the Ring. GSRC via IESN will be there to bring you all the action. We hope you join us. Next up on IESN is Race Spot's coverage of the Neo Endurance Series 24 Hours Le Mans. It's qualifying, and that's going on right now. So as soon as you hear me say I'm storming the castle, click on over to them. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, visit globalsimracingchannel.com or on social media, Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel, Instagram at GSRC_gram. All of the upcoming races for our other series are listed on the screen right now, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. If you'd like to find out more, well, I told you where to do that. Also, if you haven't done so yet, become a YouTube subscriber by heading over to our YouTube channel and hitting that big red button. Finally, on behalf of the entire crew, that would be Stefan, Sean, and Dougie, I'd like to thank all of you for watching as we saw Victor Prado pick up his first win of the season here as we open it up for the spring season of 2019 with the Batteries Not Included. With that said, we're off to have fun storming the castle. So until next time, race hard, race clean, and we'll see you on the track.